Man, what the hell was that? It looks like I was right. I didn't wanna be right. I really didn't. I wanted these non-losing season champs hats to be an afterthought, to be irrelevant. But unfortunately, my initial gut instinct in making them was right because that's the ceiling of this team. Now, granted, we won the AFC North. Sure, fine. But again, winning the division, having a non-losing season, that's not the real goal. Come on. It's Super Bowl contention. It's Super Bowl championships. And like again, not every team's going to win a Super Bowl year in and year out. You're not always going to be a Super Bowl champion. I think we can all understand that. But at least be a legitimate team in contention. And it seems like year in and year out, at the end of these seasons, we see that these Steeler teams are not even that. They're playoff teams, non-losing season teams. All right, we won a division or two over the last like 5 or 6 years. But like in terms of actually competing with the top 6 or 7 teams to win a Super Bowl, we're not even close. We just lost 30-6. We just lost 30-6 to the Houston Texans at home, Monday Night Football, when all the trends, all the stats, all that stuff was in the Steelers' favor. Tomlin, Monday night record, Steelers Monday night record at home, all that shit. Rodgers against the Texans. Now, granted, it's not the same Texans team, but still, like a lot of things were lined up in our favor here, and we do that. It's one thing for it to be on the road against the Ravens last year. It's on the road, and you feel like you have a worse team than what we had going into the playoffs this year. But my God, my God. Now, the final score doesn't necessarily translate to everything that took place in the game or like really give the full story because I don't think the game was as bad as 30-6. Don't get me wrong on that. Don't get me wrong. Because it came down to what in the fourth quarter, we were down 10-6, had the ball, and then the whole Rodgers fumble, taken back to the house thing happened. Then we're down 17-6. And then the floodgates opened and we were cooked. So I think even when we were down 17-6, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, we're down 17-6. And I think it was 4th and something. We have the option to go for it or punt it on like a 4th and long. I think we should have went for it, but instead we punted it, and then Texans take it down the field and just kind of close the game out. I'm seeing a lot of Jonnu Smith comments in the chat that were having him way too involved. I agree. I don't know what was going on with the offensive game plan here with the tight end sets that we had, the Jonnu Smith incorporation, Ben Skoranek being out there. I felt like a little bit more than he needed to be, where it made us predictable as opposed to I said this. I said this going into the game. I feel like the Texans are going to do a decent job at stopping the run. So to counter that, we're going to have to get things going in the air, and Rodgers is going to have to find some mismatches with our running backs, our tight ends potentially. Let's see if DK can win his one-on-ones, if we get a pass interference here or there, which did happen. But what are these other guys outside of DK Metcalf going to do? Are they going to get open? And ultimately they didn't, and that's another problem with this team and the front office and how this whole thing was structured. It's like we still have not found a George Pickens replacement or found a guy that could be complementary to DK Metcalf. And DK Metcalf himself hasn't even lived up to the hype of being a wide receiver one. Dropping dimes, dropping easy passes out there. It's like, come on, bro. Like that could have been a huge difference in this game, honestly. Some of his drops were in critical points. The one was in the first half. The one was in the second half. Granted, the second one was a little bit harder of a catch, but bro, getting $30 million a year for a reason. It hits you dead in the hands. Like, my God, I don't even know if I could say tough catch. It's just like it would have been. I mean, because it was a hell of a throw by Rodgers, tight window. It hits you in the hands. You know, like catch the ball. Catch the ball. Can't really blame the defense. I think the defense played fine because once that Rodgers fumble 6 happened, it was 17-6, but before that, it was 10-6, and, the fact that you only gave up 10 points as a defense, that's solid because it was hey, after the Rodgers fumble 6, I don't think we can really weigh anything that too greatly, at least, that happened after that. So, fire Tomlin, Rodgers come back, Arthur Smith, I guess these are all the questions now. I don't know, bro. I really don't know. I don't know what to think. Part of me thinks we were only down a few points. It was 10-6. Defense was playing good. Offense is lackluster for sure. Like we need more from the offense. But that was something we said already, even going into this game. If we were going to talk about 2026 roster construction, we need to add more to the offense. There's something missing there. We definitely need another receiver. We need a tweak or two on the offense. No doubt about it. But that was on full display tonight against a good defense. No one was getting open. I'm telling you, barely anyone was getting open. And Rodgers was trying to make plays. I mean, the pass rush was getting to him at times too. He was a little flustered. It's tough, man. Tough. I'm not saying he played like that amazing or anything, but it's tough when guys aren't really getting open for you. And DK Metcalf is dropping balls. Because you could definitely make the argument it's time to go in a new direction. It's time for just a fresh start all around after this one. The result is we lost 30-6. We can make the excuses. It wasn't that bad, this and that. Maybe if we do run it back, we can add a piece or two, tweak the defense, maybe fire Terrell Austin. There's some little moves you can make, but we still lost 30-6. And the wild card against the Texans at home. Monday Night Football. Are we that close? Are we? Are we? Maybe, but because that's just how some football games go, right? If Rodgers doesn't have that fumble 6, what's the final score? Do we still lose? But it looks a little bit more, we'll just say not as bad, I guess. Still a loss is a loss. So who cares? I don't even care about the final score that much. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. It's like we lost by 2 scores. That's what it feels like. We lost by 2 scores. We lost by 2 scores. Fourth quarter didn't take care of business. I mean, yeah, Shinsky right here saying 175 yards of offense. Bottom line, 175 yards of offense. We lose 30-6. It's tough, man. Tough. What do you guys think we do? Zero touchdowns. Yeah, we couldn't capitalize on those turnovers in the first half either. I thought the play calling was rough. The ingenuity, the plan from an offensive standpoint is just it wasn't there. Clearly wasn't there. Michael from the 214, should we be trying to trade Watt this offseason? Yeah. Not saying TJ is a bad player. Not saying he didn't even make things happen in this game, but for $40 million, it's a little bit too much. We might need to change our approach. Paying too much money on the defense, investing too much on the defense, where in the NFL for 2026, it's become just such an offensive league, and we're out here trying to grind these games out and win them. In this game, we didn't even score a touchdown. We didn't even score a touchdown. We're trying to grind them out and win them 13-7 or something like that. But it's our defense is so inconsistent. Our offense isn't explosive enough when facing some of these bigger time defenses. She's what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, it's the reason for the hats, non-losing season champ. Are we just trying to win week in and week out in the regular season? Just do enough to win the game that's in front of us, and sure, there's something to be said for that, right? I'm not gonna, like, poo-poo it too much. Sure, I like the relevancy, I like the fact that we are trying to win game in and game out, lock in on that, but you also have to focus on the future and have, like, an overlying vision for what this team is and what this team can be, and if we can actually hit a Super Bowl ceiling. And right now, the way that we're doing it, the way that we're operating is not getting it done. Flat out. The turnover at quarterback, the turnover on defense, the turnover at key positions like receiver, all this type of stuff. Year in and year out over the last 3 or 4 seasons after Big Ben, the coordinator even argue too. It's where's it getting us? Like where's it going? Ultimately, where's it going? Because if we run it back, I do think we can be better, but is that gonna be enough? This was the year in the AFC. Mahomes out of it. Burrow out of it. Lamar out of it. They're all coming back. Lamar's gonna have a new coach in Baltimore. Burrow's gonna be healthy. Mahomes is gonna be looking for revenge. So, like, how much better are we really gonna be next year? I think it can be better. That's why I say, like, I'm not completely opposed to running it back. We gotta get extra weapons on offense. We gotta help out Aaron Rodgers if he does, but, like, bro, is it all for naught? Because there's an argument for that too. I don't really know what to think. I think that's just where I'm at. I think that's probably where most of you guys are. Mark T with a couple bucks. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Triple Ford 4550. Think the Roonies are willing to fire Tomlin? No, I think he's going to be back. I'm not even saying that's the wrong decision. I don't think this was a fire Tomlin game. I think the defense played fine. I think it was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Rodgers had a fumble 6, the floodgates open, and that was that. So, like, the final score wasn't indicative of how close the game was, but we need to like transition philosophy a little bit. We need to transition philosophy from defensive conservative standpoint to more on the offensive, more in line with like 2026. And if you're bringing Rodgers back, is that even possible with how old he is? I think that's another question to have. Can Rodgers go toe-to-toe with some of these elite quarterbacks in the postseason and run an offense that is putting up, 25-plus points in these high-stakes games? Can he do that? I personally think he is capable. He needs more help. He needs more help than what we gave him this year. I think he is. We need more than just DK Metcalf. And the fact that DK Metcalf is dropping balls out there is like, yeah, that's not helping at all. Marvin Ba 1541. Do we low-key just blow it up? That's what I'm trying to sift through right now in my mind. I think there's an argument for it. Definitely. Definitely an argument for it. The final score is bad. And that is the result. Don't run from it, as like Tomlin would say. But the game wasn't as bad as 30-6. It wasn't. It was closer than like the Ravens wild card loss last year, even though the margin in the final score is more drastic, weirdly enough. But you have to watch the game to understand. I don't know what better we're doing next year than Aaron Rodgers. If you're talking about just trying to compete and give yourself a chance. But if you just want to blow this thing up and say, it's time for a new direction. We just need a fresh start. We need some new eyes on this thing. Then yeah, I'm not going to argue against it. Just as I wasn't arguing against it at the end of last year. In fact, I was arguing for it. This year, with how we finished the season and how this game wasn't necessarily like a fire Tomlin game. Defense played good, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, you saw how the fourth quarter went. It's like, Okay, do we bring it back? But I think part of how this game played out does go back to Tomlin, though. Even though you can't say, like, within the game, this was Tomlin's lack of game planning or this was poor coaching, players didn't play with effort, like, we were out schemed. Even though I don't think you can really say that when you're looking at the game, it still goes back to, again, the whole vision for the team and putting this thing together and feeling like this roster, this personnel, this coaching, this philosophy is gonna get it done in the playoffs. Like, that goes back to, like, the offseason, and Tomlin for sure has a say over all of that. So if you feel like he doesn't have a good feel for what we should be doing now and going forward, I get it. 100%. I get it. We've been talking about that. Big block of Steve with a few bucks here. 4.99. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Mutual split is reasonable. Yeah, it is. It is. So we'll see. Maybe Tomlin wants to go. I don't know. Probably depends a lot on Rodgers. What's Rodgers thinking? Does he want to come back? Because I think Rodgers, Tomlin, package deal. Arthur Smith probably involved in that. And maybe some of that's pending on if he gets a head coaching spot. Maybe after this game, that's less likely. Benton Masco, 6485. What are the odds we actually make the necessary changes next year? Also, shout out Deke for all the coverage all season. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. I think it just all depends on what we're talking about with necessary changes. What are these necessary changes? If we're talking about trying to get back to the spot we are right now, plus more, plus maybe a little bit more of a ceiling, then you probably could make the argument for running it back, getting additions on offense, getting a couple extra receivers, and trying to keep the defense intact as much as possible. You can make an argument for that. They're like, oh man, maybe we weren't as far off. Because if you look at what the game was in that fourth quarter, outside of that Rodgers fumble 6, we were right there. Defense was playing good. Offense was lackluster, but that's what the offense has been going into this game. And that was the conversation even going into this wild card game. It's like 2026, no matter what happens this year, we need to get more receivers. We need to get more explosive on offense. So that doesn't change. You add the fact that Rodgers will have another year in the Arthur Smith system. There's more continuity. The relationships will have some momentum. They'll continue to build. Yeah, maybe you can make a case for that. But yeah, you could easily just make another case for it's just time. It's time to blow this thing up. Really is. We might be wasting time with running it back. I don't have a strong stance at this point. I don't. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at. That's where we're at. We talked about it with some of these losses in the middle of the season. It's almost like we're numb to it. That's how I feel about today's game. I'm just numb to it. Okay. Yeah. Didn't expect much more, honestly. Like I was hoping this was different. Hoping. What do they say? Cautiously optimistic. Hoping. But I'm not gonna get my hopes up too much. So when this happens, it's like, okay. Yeah, whatever. It was the stadium atmosphere was cool. The vibes were cool down there. Anyone that was at the game, you could probably attest to that, especially in the first half. Place was electric. Towels were waving. People were standing up. It was cool. So I think that was worth it being there for the playoff game. But then as the second half played out, things started going down the tubes a little bit. Vibes started going down the tubes. J Quest, Johnny was the new E Booty. If you know, you know. I feel like I would take Ebron actually. I know E Booty means Ebron, Eric Ebron. I feel like Ebron was a little bit more productive in our offense, at least in his first year. Big Ben's first year back from the elbow surgery, I think that was 2020. I think Ebron had like 500 or 600 yards, some touchdowns. Jonnu, he got 200-300 yards, a lot of negative plays, probably too many targets. Yeah, where are you guys at on Tom? Actually, can I do a poll? Can I do like I wanna ask this because I'm seeing some people in the chat like Fire Tomlin, Fire Tomlin. Sad Steelers are scared to move on. Guess you all didn't learn anything from keeping Big Ben too long. See, I think that's the opposite. I think we let go of Big Ben too fast. As we're seeing these sequential seasons after releasing Big Ben, it hasn't been all roses and sunshine out here, man. I tried telling you it wasn't Big Ben's fault. It wasn't. He's the one that grinded that team into the playoffs. He's the one that saved that team, carried them into the playoffs in 2021. He had Kendrick Green as his center. He had the worst O-line in the league, the worst rushing defense in the league. Claypool and Deontay out there dropping balls left and right. We still go 9-7-1. Still go 9-7-1, make the playoffs. Dude leads the league in game-winning drives. And they wanted to run him out of town. I was saying just get him an offensive line, get him another receiver or two. Watch the man cook. Get a better defense. And that's partly what I'm saying with Aaron Rodgers too. I still think Rodgers can play. The mobility's not there. That the extra playmaking that he used to do back in his days in Green Bay in his prime isn't completely there, but he can still make every throw. Absolutely can still make every throw. If guys are getting open, that's not a guarantee with this team right now. Bryce 10 says, "What happened to going heavy with Spencer Anderson?" It's a good question. I don't know if that was really the vibe for today. I was saying we needed to spread it out more. I think we had too much heavy personnel, too much conservative personnel in there at times with like Ben Skoranek and Jonnu Smith. It's like, bro, if we have that formation out there, like literally, I'm seeing some plays. It's Ben Skoranek, Jonnu Smith. I can't remember the other receiver, but there was definitely DK Metcalf and our running back. I'm saying to myself, yeah, obviously, it's either we're going to DK or we're running the ball. And if you pass it to Jonnu and Skoranek, neither of them are really like for real threats in the passing game anyway. So it's like we're limiting ourselves with just like our play calling and personnel. So I don't know if throwing out Spencer Anderson as a 6 offensive lineman would have helped too much. I did think I will say this. I did think we were at times running the ball halfway decent, and maybe we could have ran the ball more. If that's kind of what you're getting at. If we just would have went with the mentality of like we're going full out, run heavy, not messing around with some of these short passes and getting Rodgers to drop back. Maybe. I'd have to look back on it though. Okay, let me see if I could do this poll because I want to see if you guys lean bringing back Tomlin, bringing back Rodgers, or you're talking like rebuild. Let's see. I don't know if this is possible. This may be above my pay grade right now. Give me a sec. Give me 1 sec. I think it is. I don't think I could do that. I don't. I'm sorry. So just let me know in the chat. Do you want Tomlin back? Do you want Rodgers back? What's the direction of this team? If you have any additional takes on the game, let me know. You know what? And this is a good time. I got to go get my charger because my computer is about to die. So hold on. All right, I think we're back. I think we're back. Yeah, I wasn't joking. This shit was gonna die. That's why I had to go get my charger. Sorry about that. Apologies. Okay, so I asked the questions, and I figured too. Yeah, I'm gonna have one more cold one. I'm gonna have one more cold one. It's the last game of the season. Off season has started, so there. I asked, what do we want to do with Tomlin, Rodgers, future? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to read some more of these paid comments though in the meantime, and I'll get back to the people that aren't spending any money on these chats. Tara Austin needs to go, Coach Pee Wee. What? Wait. Here's my thing. Like, again, in terms of defense, because we know Tomlin's a more defensive oriented coach, and Tara Austin's our defensive coordinator. I can't knock the defense, man. I can't. Like 10 points, you gave up 10 points for the majority of the game. The 7 points off the Rodgers fumble 6, that's not on the defense. And then like the game's kind of over after that once we don't convert after the Rodgers fumble 6. Sure, maybe the defense could have made a stop on that final drive, but like the defense played good enough to win this fucking game. Overall, Tara Austin, his body of work, is it in question? Whether or not we should bring him back? Absolutely. But tonight's game, I don't know if that's the vibe. Like, can we upgrade from Tara Austin next year? I think for sure. We got to see who's out there, but I don't think he did bad. I don't think Tomlin did bad from a defensive, like, schematic standpoint, defensive planning standpoint at all. Richard Arbiza, O-line cost us. Defense kept us in it till they couldn't. Yeah, decent way to put it. Yeah, Rodgers, he didn't have the best of time back there. Part of it was because we didn't really get the run game. I think we were one-dimensional. Part of it is we made ourselves maybe a little bit one-dimensional too. Not running the ball as much as we could have, but we didn't have the best of success with it. Just a weird thing we had going on offense there. Obviously, it didn't work out. Glenn Hunter, give Howard the keys and rebuild. Appreciate your content this season. Thanks, bro. Thank you. I think I actually read that comment before things disconnected. Owen Richardson, Johnny Smith is an offensive liability. He never makes plays and can only get penalties when he blocks. Anyway, thanks for the content this season, Deke. I wasn't surprised. Regime change needed. Yeah, Johnny Smith got to go. He got to go. I think if Muth and Darnell are our top 2 tight ends next year, that's fine. DK's coming back. Add to the receiver room. Draft someone in the first 2 rounds. Bring in a high-quality free agent receiver. Bring Rodgers back if he wants to come back. Obviously, it'll be probably a team-friendly deal. Like that, okay, I could talk myself into that as being competitive. Maybe being better than this year, but what does better than this year look like? Is it we lose instead of 30-6 in the wild card, we lose 24-17? Do we actually get a divisional round? Or can we be Super Bowl contenders? I think that's all up in the air. And I think the least likely of those options is probably being real Super Bowl contenders, unfortunately. But what else do we got going for us next year? Because at least you could talk yourself into, if Rodgers comes back, Will Howard gets another year of development under Aaron Rodgers. And with this weak quarterback class, I don't think there's anyone that you're bringing in that you're feeling amazing about being the future anyway. Or being like, yeah, being a guy that's a difference maker, not only in this season, but also for years down the line. Like Ty Simpson, are we kidding? Are we kidding ourselves? Trinidad Shambliss, I know I was talking him up a little bit a couple weeks ago, but he's going to be like a 3rd or 4th round receiver. Would he even beat out Will Howard if he came here? And we're talking about either him or Will Howard, whatever young quarterback we're talking about, whether it's the Malik Willis we bring in, we're talking about them actually like competing in the AFC with the Mahomes coming back and being motivated and Burrow being healthy and Lamar Jackson with a new coach, plus all the other teams that are in the AFC right now. Like we're actually trying to be serious with ourselves and saying, oh, we could be Super Bowl contenders with that. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. So what would be our best chance to maybe be in that category? It would be bringing the Rodgers back and the continuity type of stuff. But is that even going to be enough? Unfortunately, likely not. So yeah, we're just in purgatory. We might just be in purgatory limbo again. Non-losing season champions, man. Non-losing season champions. Get your hat. Link, I'm putting in the comments right now. Deek-merch.store. There's actually a promo code. Promo code is wildcard. 25% off. Now until maybe we'll even extend the deal out because the season's over. I was going to say the promo code's done middle of tomorrow. I think I was going to say noon tomorrow. Or now it's technically today. It's 1 a.m. Tuesday. I was going to say like noon on Tuesday, but maybe we'll just keep that promo code going to the rest of the week, honestly. But that's the promo code, 25% off. John Adams, yeah, he may still have the arm, but does he still have the vision? Missed a lot of open receivers tonight. I know you saw it too. No, I'm sorry, I didn't actually. From being at the game standpoint and some of the replays I was seeing, I didn't see guys open. I don't know if you guys agree more with John Adams here, 165, or me. I didn't see guys open. Maybe I got to watch it back, see some of this all 22, but plays I was looking at, man, I'm like, bro, who's he throwing to? Who's he throwing to? I like this question. Trippa Ford, 455. Oh, Rooney asked you for a 5-year plan. What you saying? A 5-year plan. Like we have 5 years of cushion room to become the best team that we can be. My 5-year plan would have started last year. I said last year it was time. Move off of Tomlin, bring in Ben Johnson, bring in a Brian Flores, bring in a Mike Vrabel. Wasn't as familiar with Liam Cohen, but I'm sure he could have been one of the options too. Bring in one of those guys. Get him a quarterback. I don't know who that could have been, whether it was bringing back Fields and hopefully either a Ben Johnson or a Liam Cohen, maybe one of these QB gurus could have figured some shit out. Could have done that, or you drafted a new guy. Who knows? Who knows? It might have been time for a fresh start at that point last year. So this year, the coaching pool isn't the same. If you move off of Tomlin, there isn't a Ben Johnson out there. There isn't a Liam Cohen, a Mike Vrabel, maybe Brian Flores if you want to do that. It's tough. It's tough. Like I wouldn't mind. I mean, Cignetti wouldn't be a bad option if you just did bring in Cignetti, let him run shit. Assuming they win the national championship at Indiana. Now, some of you think that he's just going to stay because he signed a long-term contract. I wouldn't be like so sure of that because you know how some of these college football coaches work and just the whole landscape of college football is like people switch their opinions, switch their trajectory on a dime. You saw Lane Kiffin. I know this would be a different scenario, but like if he wins a national championship at Indiana, Pittsburgh Steelers come calling, given that this is like his hometown team, it would be another step for him, given that he just took care of business on the college ranks. It's like, maybe this is a new challenge. Maybe we can go to the pros and see what can happen. I would think that Cignetti stays at Indiana, but if he was available, that would be my approach. I would go with him. That would be my first option. I don't know I don't know after him. I don't know. If you're talking about replacing Tomlin. 'Cause you asked me 5-year plan. I don't know. Then this is the point. I think this hits on why are we bringing Tomlin back? Like, is he the answer? If, in terms of a 5-year plan, is he the guy that can get us to Super Bowl contention status within 5 years? Let's say Tomlin's given a clean slate right now. Like we forget about all the history and all that shit. But knowing what we know, at least of Tomlin being the head coach of the Steelers, it's like, is he the guy to do this and operate us and get us in a right direction and a right vision for these next 5 years? I have serious questions about it because we are coming up on like what 5 years post Ben, with Tomlin probably having a lot of say in how this roster is and what the philosophy is and the schemes and all that shit. It hasn't worked out. We've hit this ceiling of non-losing seasons and wild card and getting housed in these wild card rounds. That's where we're at. It's just simply where we're at. It seems like the advantage is on offense in 2026 for the National Football League. So you got to have one of those guys, man. Kyle Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur, these like quarterback gurus that can figure out how to develop quarterbacks, can figure out offense and make changes on the fly, be innovative, all that type of stuff. Because the rules are so much slanted in that direction where when you have games like this, you got to be able to produce something. You have to. It can't just be all defense. We're defending, offense, stay conservative. Now, it did feel like it was going to be one of those throwback games. Like if we just kept it within a score down the stretch, maybe we get the ball 2 minutes left, Aaron Rodgers game-winning drive. Maybe, just maybe. But the margin for error with that is too thin. And if you're talking about a playoff sample size of you got to win 3 or 4 games in a row to win a Super Bowl, it's like you're just making it tough on yourself there. Now, granted, I didn't think the offense was going to lay an egg like this because we did see a lot of good things before this wild card game in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. But that's been too much of that. This philosophy has been too much of our identity post Ben, of we're playing not to lose on offense. Don't turn the ball over. Defense, keep us in it, carry us, and we'll scratch and claw, find a way to win. The margin of error is just so thin because when your defense is slipping up, you get results like you saw today. When the offense has an off day, it's like, yep, you see that again today too. It's just not enough, man. Not enough. Outsauce, Terrell Austin hides behind splash plays, not scheme. Yeah, there's an argument for that. Overall, yes, overall. I wouldn't say like necessarily that was the case tonight. We did get our turnovers. I also thought we just played good defense as well. Eric Saber, Groundhog Day every season, just change anything. We said that last year, though. We said that last year. After we knew Tomlin was coming back, it's like, okay, let's just change something. And we did change something. I liked our effort in changing the quarterback and changing the offense and some of the defense. I like that. But where's the change getting us? It's the same shit every season. When you have the same head coach, you have the same kind of like coaching structure and all that. Is the personnel moves going to mean anything ultimately? So we could talk about we could talk about getting another receiver next year. We could talk about some little tweaks and everything, but are we just kidding ourselves? Are we just lying to ourselves? Or our ceiling is probably just going to be this again, maybe a little bit better, but like really Super Bowl next year? If we run it back, if we say Rodgers, let's go at it again. We'll get another receiver. Arthur Smith come back, Tomlin come back. Try to keep the defense intact. Where is that really getting us? Where's that getting us? You tell me. Mark T36 Smith out as OC. McCarthy in. Reunited with Rodgers for his and Tomlin's final season. Then Big Mike takes the head coaching spot. That'd be funny. That wouldn't be the worst. Honestly, that wouldn't be the worst. I don't think Rodgers and McCarthy's relationship is the best, though. That wouldn't be the worst thing. I'm not saying Mike McCarthy should take over the head coaching spot, though, automatically. It's like, no, we'll give him a shot as an offensive coordinator with us. But then all of a sudden, if Tomlin wants to leave, I don't think we should automatically just give it to Mike McCarthy. Not at all. Because there's question marks about him, about being a head coach and what his ceiling is, just like we're talking about with Tomlin. Thomas Keene, 715, make Danny Smith the head coach. No. John Easton, it's over. Accept reality. Clean house. Start over. Yeah, that just might be it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Knight Rider 16. Deke, think about it. The Pats have had a few necessary bad years. Drafted a quarterback and brought in a new head coach. Back as the number 1 seed. We need a real rebuild. I'm not going to argue against it. You're not going to hear me argue against that at all. You're not. Yeah, would I not like to have bad years, down years, losing seasons in the process? Sure. Would I like it to be where if we brought in a new head coach, we could at least have a certain floor, but also even a higher upside than Tomlin? But that's probably not completely realistic, especially if we move off of Tomlin. That means we're probably moving off of key players too. And we're doing the full rebuild, like you mentioned. We're moving off of Tomlin. We're trading TJ. We're trading veterans, getting a lot of more young players in there and thinking about what the Steelers could be in 2, 3, 4 years. I would. Garcia Boxing versus the World asks, would you like McDaniels as the OC? Yes, I would. 100%. Even if Arthur Smith was available to come back and we were interested in him coming back, I wouldn't mind just replacing Arthur Smith with Mike McDaniels if we wanted to make that clean swap right there. If we had the option, Arthur Smith, McDaniels, we've seen enough of Arthur Smith. Let's go with Mike McDaniels. And that's not even shitting on Arthur Smith. But could we do better? Yeah, probably. And Mike McDaniels could be one of those options. Because I'm not saying Arthur Smith has been bad. I think he's been positive. But Mike McDaniels, I'm not going to say no to it. I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, we made a huge mistake going from Arthur Smith to Mike McDaniels. My God, what are we doing? No, I'd be like, yeah, there's potential there. It's not a bad move. We know there's a certain competency with Mike McDaniels as an offensive coordinator and a play caller. And what he can do to develop quarterbacks. I mean, you see it with Tua. What do you think of Will Howard? I think he's got potential to be the future. I think he deserves a shot to be the future. But I'm not giving him the keys. I'm not just giving him free reign or full reign of anything. Curtis Gaming, John Gruden as head coach, Mike McDaniel as OC, Calvin Shepard, DC. Okay. That's too much change for the Steelers. That's way too much change. Impossible. I see where you're getting at. I don't like that's not the worst lineup ever. Right there. Hey, Heller 412, you get to choose the execution method for Tom. I'm not. No, get out of here with this. What the fuck? Who's coming up with these fucking questions? Get out of here with that. No. Driveway projects. Overall, still a decent season. I hate to see it end this way, but we're already numb to it. Cheers. Enjoying a double-double from LA. That's what I'm on to. Yep. Kind of just numb to it at this point. Kind of just numb to it. It was a fresh reminder of why I made these dumbass fucking hats. I can't even say dumbass hats. These are kind of tough hats. Look, it was kind of through the ringer today. I don't even I got like some salt on it and shit down at the game, down at the tailgates and stuff. But I'm with you, man. Like I'm not even mad. Like I'm not even like pissed off. Like that's a shame. I'm not even pissed off. At least last year, when we lost, I felt mad. Like, I felt like, okay, it's time. Like, there was an energy there. This is off. This is abomination. What we put on display in the wild card game is unacceptable. There's no more defense for keeping Tom. Like, it's time to move on. Like, there was at least a certain spark in my rhetoric there. Now, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know where the hope is. I don't know. You could talk me into either way, but you're not even going to talk me into it like that much. It's like, because I don't think either way, either the full rebuild or the run it back type of thing, I don't think that either is ultimately going to be the answer. Maybe the full rebuild could be the answer for like 4 or 5 years down the line. So unfortunately, we might have to experience some patience and downtimes, which I know we're not really looking forward to. We could say we don't care, but let's be real. There is something to be said for being in the mix. Like, that's why you do got to give some credit for the non-losing seasons, having games in the regular season that count all the way down to the wire. But ultimately, where's it getting us? It might be time to pull the Band-Aid off, blow this thing up. Owen Richardson, 4803. Just ordered a hat. CJ Stroud had such a free shot to the Super Bowl. Groundhog's Day. Indeed. I'm numb to it at this point. At least we beat Baltimore. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for the hat purchase. Thank you. Appreciate it. Driveway Projects. Overall, still a decent season. Hate to see it end this way, but we're already numb to it. Cheers. Oh, wait. I already read this. I'm sorry. I already read this. But it was that good of a comment. I wanted to read it again, I guess. Winning season champs. 98. I guess that's another way to spin it. We're winning season champs. But that's not how it's ever framed in the media. No one's like winning seasons. Winning seasons. When you think of winning season, whenever you think of winning, you think of Super Bowls. You think of championships. Like, that's what you think of whenever you're talking about winning. Everything else, what do they say in Ricky Bob? If you're not first, you're last. So if you're not winning the Super Bowl, we shouldn't be talking about like regular seasons being, oh, we won the regular season, or we won the season, even though we didn't win a Super Bowl. It's like, no, you didn't win the season because you didn't win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? That's why I think everything else outside of the Super Bowl should be categorized as lesser than non-losing season. Oh, we were just above 500 type of season. Oh, we made the playoffs. It's not like a winning season. No. Oh, the winning season is the Super Bowl. But anyway, winning season 98, or winning season champs 98 says, are we really surprised that we got embarrassed again? I think Tomlin just lost it with the Steelers. I don't like people losing their jobs, but it's time. Nothing will change until they move on. I'm with you on that. Like, I love Coach T, man. I really do. I like what he's about. I don't want him to lose. I want him to be the guy to lead this team into the promised land. I truly do. I truly do. But to me, it just comes down to the results of the results. And it hasn't been good enough. No playoff wins, and I guess this will be 9 years. And all these playoff losses, it's by double digits. It's bad. It's in embarrassing fashion one way or another, even though, again, I don't think today's score is indicative of completely how we played or how close the game was. 30-6 is 30-6. Like, if you want to talk about our game plan or approach going into this game, or how we played in game, affecting what took place, or even going back to the roster building in the offseason and the vision for this 2025 team, like, that all plays a part. And that ultimately, when you add it all together, isn't good enough for whenever you're talking about playoffs and trying to win it all in this team. Flat out. Jay Cola, Gruden for head coach, Mike McDaniel for OC. Yeah, someone else mentioned that too. It was the DC that they mentioned, though, along with their Gruden for head coach and Mike McDaniel for OC call. Let me see. They added a DC. Sorry, my voice is kind of shot. Like I said, the energy was good there in the first half. Energy was fine. down in Acrisure. People were amped up. People were standing up, waving the towels, getting loud. John Easton says draft Carson Beck. I like Will Howard over Carson Beck. Edward Mask says, I don't care if you draft Dan Marino in his prime as long as Tomlin is at the helm. 0 playoff and Super Bowl wins. I think that's one of the debates for keeping Tomlin would be if you give him a quarterback in his prime, a franchise quarterback in his prime, what can he do? The unfortunate part is we did have that for a decent stretch with Big Ben, and we know the offense wasn't the issue in that time period. And it's like we still didn't live up to our potential as a team. Some of those killer B years and whatnot. In terms of finding a quarterback, now I don't know how we're going to find a quarterback unless we do. I'm not going to say tank unless we do have some like subpar seasons and are picking in the top 10. Now we could trade up. We could trade up in the top 10, top 5 and try to get a guy. But you look at all these teams that are in contention. It's because they have a franchise quarterback typically. And how do those teams get a franchise quarterback? I mentioned this way back in the offseason. There's 2 ways. It's either you get, well, we'll say 3 ways. It's either you get lucky as shit and you draft like a Brock Purdy in like the 7th round, Tom Brady in the 6th round, Dak Prescott in the 4th round. You're just getting lucky. You can't count on that. It's either you do that or, and here's the thing too, like how much faith do we have in us making sure a 6th round pick is like a franchise quarterback and developing them to that level? Like I guess that's a different conversation. But anyway, that's one. You get lucky as shit and you draft someone in the 6th or 7th round, draft someone late that you had no expectation of being the franchise quarterback for you. And they just turn out to be that. The other way is you're drafting in the top 10 and you get a Joe Burrow, you get a Josh Allen, you get a Patrick. Well, Chiefs traded up to get a Patrick Mahomes, et cetera, et cetera. All the guys that are taken in like the top 5, the top 10, like a portion of those dudes are franchise quarterbacks. And Justin Herbert, Drake May, those guys are leading their teams to playoff runs, playoff contention, legitimate Super Bowl status, that type of shit. So those are the 2 options right there. But then the third option is you draft a quarterback like maybe late in the 1st round and have him develop under a guy that you already have in place. And he's going to sit for like 2 or 3 years. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, Jordan Love with the Packers, Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs, that type of shit. So the Steelers are going to have to figure out one of those 3 ways to get a franchise quarterback in here. Now you could say maybe we got lucky with Will Howard. Maybe he's the guy, right? 6th round pick, but drafting a franchise quarterback that late in the draft is typically an outlier and something you're not counting on. So you got the other 2 options, and I don't really – are the Steelers in position for that right now? Either one of those 2? No, we're not going to be drafting in the top 10 as long as Tomlin's here. And then the second one is drafting a quarterback late and having him sit behind someone for a couple of years and develop. It's like, I don't really like this draft class. And I don't know if they would necessarily even be better than like a Will Howard in terms of like a developmental project. So I don't know, bro. I really don't know. I think in terms of like where we're at strategy wise, we just got to hope and pray that if Rodgers comes back, he's better and the offense is better, and that maybe Will Howard can be the guy down the line once Rodgers leaves, or that the 2027 draft class is a lot better and we get a legitimate dude there. I don't really have like a definitive, this is the answer, this is the direction we need to be going for this 2026 offseason. I don't. I'm sorry. Maybe you guys do. I'd like to hear it. I mean, some of you guys are bringing up some of your takes in the chat. J Rock 213. Tomlin be hiring guys off of aisle 9 at Home Depot as coordinators. Finkner, Canada, Smith, all bums. I think Smith was actually a higher end pickup because of what he did as OC with the Titans. The fact that he became a head coach off of his offensive coordinator duties. He was a good hire. I don't think there were too many OCs available that were better than him at the time after firing Canada in that what offseason was it? I guess 2024 offseason. It was like Arthur Smith and Kingsbury. I think those were like the top two guys, and we got one of them. Now you could say maybe Arthur Smith is too much in alignment with the traditional Steelers approach. It was too good of a fit because of Smith's usage of heavy personnel and tight ends and running back, all that type of shit. And we needed something to switch things up, try to get something more innovative, more college-like, or more 2026-ish or 2025-ish, whatever, more in the modern era with an offense, more open. But I think Arthur Smith was a good pickup for us. Finkner, yeah, you could just say, oh, we were lazy, we just hired within. But he was Big Ben's guy, so I'm gonna lean on that. If Big Ben wants to start an offensive coordinator, who are you gonna argue? Or who's gonna be the one to argue against Big Ben on that? And then Matt Canada was just a flat out right, god awful pickup. Flat out right, god awful. I think that turned our franchise back a few years. We had Canada in here for Ben's last season, was never a good fit to begin with. And then we kept Canada and let Big Ben move on and said, Canada, you could be the future coordinator here. You could build the new quarterback, the new offense in whatever way that you see fit. And you saw how that worked out. Canada wasn't even a good college coordinator. Why did we think he was going to be something good in the pros? $36 cameo says Carson Beck. Nah, I'm with you. I don't really want Carson Beck. Although I guess he's playing in the Natty this week. Matter 1216. Mike Fraudlin got to get Swiss cheesed immediately. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know which way I'm leaning more. I think I'm probably leaning moving off of Tomlin more as opposed to bringing him back and running it back. Probably just because we're so fresh off this game. It's probably like 50-50. I mean, maybe if you ask me tomorrow, you ask me on Wednesday, maybe I'd lean back to just keeping Tomlin and running it back, but I don't have a strong emotion either way. Going back to what you guys are saying in the chat and what I've been kind of saying is like, I'm kind of numb to a bunch of like all this shit. John Easton could have had Dart or Darnold cheat. But this is the question. Is Darnold doing what he's doing here like he is in Seattle? Because I do have serious questions about just how we operate as a franchise from an offensive standpoint and what our goals are and what our vision is, particularly when it pertains to molding someone versus bringing in a Rodgers, and Rodgers already knows what he wants, and he's kind of like working together with Arthur Smith. Like, I don't know if Darnold's having the same season here like he is in Seattle. And same thing with Dart. I don't really have too much confidence, but maybe that's the answer right there for whether or not we should be moving on or fresh start. If we don't have confidence that no matter what quarterback's thrown in there, if we do have to change direction from a personnel standpoint, that we can get it done, it might just be time, bro. It might just be time. Because you see how many coaches out there that they could bring in these guys like Sam Darnold's a good example, going to the Vikings, going to the Seahawks after he was thrown out for dead in the NFL. Thought that he was just going to be a career backup. Has resurgences. Why is that? I think Kevin O'Connell. I think the Seahawks, their coaching, their structure, Kubiak on offense, all that type of stuff had a part of it. Baker Mayfield having a little bit of a resurgence out in LA, which gave him an opportunity with the Buccaneers. He also had David Canales and Liam Cohen as his offensive coordinators there to help him with his resurgence and getting back on the right footing as a starting quarterback in the league. It's like, do we have that type of shit where it doesn't matter what quarterback comes in here? If they were talented in the past, like we could fix them. Like, there's not that narrative here. I mean, we saw a small sample of Fields get better, but it was a small sample, and ultimately, we moved off of Fields and went to Russ. And then Russ was clearly limited. That didn't work out the way that we expected. There's just question marks. No matter what way you want to spin Tomlin running an offense or trying to have a vision for an offense here, figuring out what we're doing on that side of the ball. It's like there's just question marks. I think it's fair to have question marks. I'm not saying it's been like all bad or all god awful, but when we're talking about trying to be a top 10 offense consistently, trying to be an offense in line with the 2026 era, can we get there? Can we be that? Dario Christina, 9319. Watch the game from Harold's, Hinesfield West in Arizona. Oh, yeah. I've been there. I was there way back in the day. Super frustrated about this game. Another year wasted. Just annoyed, man. That's all. Yeah. I think we all share that sentiment. Ooh, good point here. Shonkin, 7173. Can't say winning season because Tomlin has 3 non-winning seasons, 8-8 seasons. That is true. 2012, 2013. And are you saying just 3? It's not 4? Yeah, the other one would be Duck Hodges and Mason. That would be the other one. Those would be the 3. I guess the other 8-8 season, it wasn't Tomlin, but it contributed to the non-losing season champion record, would be the year after Super Bowl XL with Cowher. We went 8-8. It was that Bengals game in overtime. I think no, it wasn't 8-8-1. No, it was actually 9-6-1 or 9-7. Yeah, it was 9. Was it 9-7-1 or 9-6-1? There was a season we missed the playoffs. The 9-7-1 season we made the playoffs. That's when we tied with the Lions, Big Ben's last season. Made the playoffs, 7 seed. 9-6-1, and we missed the playoffs. That was 2018. That team was good. That team unfortunately missed the playoffs and was way better than what they finished that year, I feel like, because that's when Boz was god awful, missing extra points, missing field. That probably cost us a game or two. Could have easily been, what I said, 9-6-1. We could have easily been like 11-5 at least, easily, if Boz just made the simple shit. And then there was some fluky stuff that happened in that New Orleans game, the Joe Hayden penalty, Juju fumble at the end. Like, we should have beat the Saints there, and that was a team that was in the NFC Championship. We did beat the Patriots that year, and they won the Super Bowl. So that just goes to show I think that team was a lot better than that record, and unfortunately missed the playoffs, because if they didn't, I think they would have done some damage. John Easton, 918. Knowing Rooney, we keep Tomlin and bring in Kyler as quarterback. I would just rather bring back Aaron Rodgers, but I get your point. You just feel like it's going to be another veteran quarterback. Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers would be the guy. You can make a case for bringing in a Malik Willis. I think that would be my next option after Aaron Rodgers. Bring in Malik Willis. And then I guess you would, if neither of those happen, you would be considering drafting a quarterback and have him compete with Will Howard. So I think no matter what way you want to spin it, the Steelers are not in a great spot. I think we're in a bleak spot for the future. it doesn't seem like we're going to crack through this non-losing season ceiling. Like that's just about where we're at. There's not going to be AFC championships, Super Bowls in the near future. So what do you want to do? I don't like. Yeah, maybe you bring back Rodgers. You bring it back for the slight chance that we do hit the AFC championship ceiling and Super Bowl ceiling because of the continuity and the fact that maybe we add a receiver to an offense and that makes a difference. But Dario Christina says 1 more year with Rodgers feels good with them. Yeah, not opposed. Not opposed. I don't think this is true. John Easton says Willis is shorter than Kyler. I don't think that's true at all. I think Malik Willis is like 6'1", 6'2", isn't he? I'm going to bet that right now. Malik Willis is over 6 foot. I still have a decent amount of this Keystone Light. If Malik Willis is under 6 foot, I'll chug this Keystone Light right now. I don't want to. He's 6 foot. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. He's literally 6 foot. At least that's what Google says. Yeah, I don't need any more beers in the system. I don't. I'm good. Last game of the season. That was my first playoff game. Yeah, I don't think Rodgers was the problem. Not at all. No. I don't think he is what he once was in terms of mobility and being able to put the team on his back to the highest extent, even though I still think he has put the team on his back in moments in certain games throughout the season for sure. But we didn't help him out at all with the receivers, and I've been over that. Like, my God, we were talking about 35-year-old Adam Thielen and MVS off the street as being like our number 2 and 3 options as receivers. Like, come on, bro. Or a 5'7" Calvin Austin. We need to do better. We need to do better with surrounding Rodgers with talent. All right, guys. I think I'm going to get some sleep. Off season has started. Unfortunately. Get your hats. Link in bio. I'm going to promote it one more time. I didn't want to do this. I really didn't. I didn't want to make these hats. The Steelers forced me to make these hats. I'm just calling it like it is. Since we're not going to get Super Bowl champion hats, we're not going to get AFC championship hats. Why not some non-losing season champion hats? Because not only have we set the record from an NFL history standpoint of consecutive non-losing seasons, but that's pretty much what you can expect from this team right now with the current situation, the current structure we have. So it is what it is. If you just want to call it like it is whenever you're wearing a hat of your favorite team, go for it. Who's wearing a division champs hat? Like, come on, bro. Who's wearing that? This actually flows. This actually got a good, like, kind of like brand to it. Division champs, come on. 25% off. Promo code. Wild card. Here's the link again. If you like what I'm rocking, you can cop it up. We might even have some winter merch coming up. It's gonna be a cooled off season, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Maybe I need a day off. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sure there will be some stuff to react to in the media, sound bites. Wild card loser. See, that doesn't ring. See, this is like just non-losing season champs. Like it rings. It flows. Thanks, man. You like the hat? I do too. I think the hat's sick. Thank you. I appreciate it. One and done hats. Yeah, DK did have a shit night. I'm with you 100%. Yeah, I need some sleep. I need some sleep. I didn't get much sleep last night anyway. And I was out in the trenches today, the tailgates, all that type of shit. At the game late on here, the live stream. I need some sleep. I do need some sleep. I'm gonna throw on some Sports Center. And I'll be up at some point tomorrow. You guys will get I'm assuming some sort of content tomorrow. But the off season is here. Off season is here. To be young again. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm like too young, but yeah. Just trying to live, man. Just trying to live. That's why I went to the game today. I was talking to you guys about that. I don't want to say dilemma. Yeah, I guess dilemma I had about, all right, do I go to the game? Do I hop on here and stay at home so I can be more punctual with when the game ends and my reaction? But I don't know. There's something to be said to just, I got to live. I want to go to the game. I will say this before I sign off. I don't think Big Ben loses that game. I don't think Big Ben loses that game. That's all I'll say. I'm out of here. Stay chilling. Is there? Wait, let me just double check. Is there any comments that I missed? I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, peace, guys. Until next season. Peace.